Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Ball Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Connor on Sneak and Show versus Grixis Delver, piloted by Lucas Von Samson. And he has that turn 1 Delver exactly where you want to be. Very difficult matchup for Sneak and Show. Every turn that this Delver chips away at the life total is a turn closer to death for Sneak and Show. They really have to find a way to typically assemble 2 counter spells in this matchup. In my experience, if you've got a couple of Force of Wills or a Force of Will and a Spell Pierce, it is much harder for the Grixis Delver player to have 3 counters and actually be able to contain your combo. But here we have Thoughtseize, and that is going to make it very, very difficult for Connor. Either going to strip away some counters. Oh, and a Daze to stop the Brainstorm. So Brainstorm, often an excellent counter to that Thoughtseize, going to be able to hide the good stuff. For example, the Sneak and Show, and that's actually a misdirection. Interesting. Is that a misdirection? If that is a misdirection, I gotta say it may have just been better to misdirect that Thoughtseize, leaving a mana open, Brainstorm, tapping out, put those Dazes into hard counter mode. Now it looks like Lucas did have the second Daze, so that my line probably would have ended in disaster, but very tempting. If someone throws out a Thoughtseize, I mean, that's kind of why you're running Misdirection, if that is actually the card. Wasteland taking out Volcanic Island. Delver chipping away at the life total. Connor has some serious rebuilding to do, and it looks like the door is getting closer and closer to completely closed. 2 Dazes and a Force of Negation. Sneak attack, and that's going to be Force of Negation, pitching, Daze, getting a token. Got 2 more turns here. It's got to be now or never for Connor. He throws out a Brainstorm, and Lucas sitting on Force plus blue card, and Connor doesn't even have it, so that Force not necessary, but it was there just in case. And this is a extremely difficult matchup for Sneak and Show. You've got a deck that can fight you on the stack and in your hand, and has the superior board presence in the early game. So really, Grixis Delver able to fight on every axis here, and Sneak and Show going to really just be equipped to fight on the stack with their Spell Pierces, Force of Wills, apparently Misdirection. Lucas consulting his sideboard. Bounces around between a bunch of different archetypes. Grixis Delver makes use of many of the best new cards from the last year, but not all of them. Does miss out on Veil of Summer and Oko, for example. Green has an awful lot to offer. Red, blue, black does have quite a lot of options as well. Multicolor decks do tend to have a embarrassment of riches when it comes to the sideboard in Legacy. When you're playing a 3 or 4 color deck, I mean, you are passing on some very good options as you determine your 15 for your sideboard. We see Plague Engineer for Lucas, a card that won't see too much utility in this matchup, or really the only thing it could possibly do is perhaps if the opposing deck had a utility or a defensive creature like a Xantid Swarm style threat. Is the 1 casting cost colorless one from Aether Revolt, I think it is. I'm forgetting the name of it. It's not very good. I did sleeve it up for a little while in Sneak and Show. The old Days plus Wasteland hand. Sneak and Show. A very powerful deck. A lot of different options right now. You may have seen the blue-green build Eureka Tell that actually drops the sneak attacks for Eurekas and focuses more on Omniscience. That build put up some very good results here locally, though not getting huge results anywhere else. I mean, almost certainly because of lack of play. It's a very powerful version. Veil of Summer, the biggest edition, and here we've got just some permission and some lands. Looks like no threat here. So Lucas on a Mulda 5, and he's going to be Thought Seizing. Looks like a turn 3 Show and Tell Gristlebrand was on the menu. And Lucas considering the Enabler. And he's actually going to fire off Surgical now. Getting all of the Show and Tells. Grixis Delver, way better positioned than, say, Blue-Red Delver, as you can actually handle a Emrakul. That is a possibility. You have cards like Angarth's Rampage, Liliana's Triumph, Edict effects that can actually handle a 2020 Titan. Or yeah, 15 Indestructible Titan, I should say. And now a Delver off the top. Lucas sitting with Force blue card in hand, another Delver at the top of the library. So the first one not flipping, but future turns could make this go very fast. And now Brainstorm. Not flipping again. Every time that doesn't flip is saving Connor a massive amount of life. Now we've got a Dreadhorde Arcanist. That one actually gets Force of Willed, as it would bring back the Thoughtseize and eventually the Surgical. Stripping a Gristlebrand out of his hand and then getting all the Gristlebrands out of the deck. That would be a real issue. The only way to win from there would be a sneak attack into Emrakul. And even then you'd have to get multiple Emrakuls, as the first one would not do the job here. Lucas sitting at 16. 6 damage coming in. Things getting grim here. Ponder. He keeps 1. And he has got 1 more turn to live. Ponder of his own, interestingly tapping the Underground Sea. I would have expected Volcanic. Perhaps he has a Red Blast in hand. Thoughtseize would be a powerful play here. Really nail this coffin shut. Force of Negation on top. I mean, he's sitting on double counter. Got to expect Lotus Petal to be part of this mix. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to keep. And now the sneak attack. And which way do you want to counter it? Force, pitching Force of Negation. Spell Pierce. We've got a Daze. That'll pay for 1. He can still put in that Griselbrand. And when he passes the turn, ponder. Oh, and he finds a lightning bolt. There we go. And lightning bolt takes him out in response to putting in a Griselbrand. So he would have been able to sneak in a Griselbrand, block, gain some life. And instead, lightning bolt closes the door. Veil of Summer. A nice little splash here in Sneak and Show, but wasn't quite enough to get there. Well, you can tell we do these live. I really thought that was the end of the match. We're going to keep going. Turn 1, Show and Tell, Force of Willed. Game 3 here. Thoughtseize. And that takes a Ponder, leaving just Emrakul and Spell Pierce. City of Traders in play. Opting to play that Flooded Strand now. Feels like it may have been better to wait until he draws a Show and Tell. Not a lot of paths to victory with this hand, but Show and Tell off the top would be one of them. Instead, opting to Spell Pierce the Ponder and hope that this is just a real drudge and both players can just draw a bunch of cards before doing something else. A second land adds for Connor. Lightning Bolt, so good last game at actually closing the door, but here in the early game not gonna be particularly useful. We got a Brazen Borrower, and that'll start the clock. The end step Borrower coming in. And Delver can join the beatdown here, or it can sit there as a blue card in hand for force later. Instead, it's committed to the board, looking to make this a 3-turn clock. Worst case, it's a 4-turn. There we go, 6 damage. Connor now down to 10. And he flips up the hand. That is a wrap. Are they just playing for fun? I think they're just playing for fun. I don't know if we just got an extra bonus game in there. All right, we're gonna stop it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we've got one more from this Wednesday night Legacy, and yeah, these guys are apparently just jamming some games for fun at this point. All right, take care, guys. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.